What if everything you ever loved, your family, your freedom, your future, was taken from you in a single moment? What if you were thrown into the darkest corner of human history, and yet somehow you found hope? No, this is not fiction. This is the true story of a man who walked through hell and came back with a message that has saved millions of lives. If you miss this story, you're not just missing history, you're missing the one truth that could save you in your lowest point and even change your life upside down. So, subscribe our channel, The Realm of Realization, and let's start the video. In the dark and cold silence of December 1941, a man sat alone in a Vienna apartment, his hands shaking. A single torn-up visa was there on the floor. The stamp was American, the escape real. But Viktor Frankl had just made the most illogical decision of his life. He stayed, not for himself, not for safety, but for love, for the trembling hands of his old parents, who refused to abandon their homeland, despite the war, despite the terror creeping inch by inch, despite the brown uniforms, swastikas, and shouting boots of Hitler's army. This was the moment Frankl unknowingly chose his destiny, a path into fire that would give light to millions, because what followed next was unimaginable. Frankl was no ordinary man. He was a neurologist, a psychiatrist, and a deeply philosophical soul working with suicidal teenagers. His work, revolutionary. His theory that even in the darkest pain, there is meaning, but theories are tested in fire. And in 1942, the fire came for him. The Nazis came knocking. He, his wife, his parents, ripped away from their home, shoved onto a crowded train. That train had no destination marked, just faces all numb, eyes empty. And soon they arrived. Auschwitz. The name alone still sends chills through history. Frankl stepped out, clutching a manuscript in his coat pocket. It was the work of his life, years of writing on finding meaning. The guards stripped him of everything, his clothes, his name, his identity, even his manuscript, gone, burned, lost forever. In one moment, Viktor Frankl was no longer a doctor. He was prisoner 119104, just a number. Every day in the camp was a walk through hell. The cold didn't just freeze your skin, it ate into your bones. The food was barely food, a scrap of bread, a spoon of watery soup, and the work, endless. Men collapsed in snow, their bodies turned blue, lifeless. But Frankl, he watched, he observed, he saw a strange pattern. Those who gave up, those who believed they had no purpose left, they died faster, not because of the cold or the hunger, but because of the emptiness inside, the void. He would later write, "Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose." And he lived it. Every day, Frankl fought, not just to survive, but to find meaning again and again. He focused on small, almost invisible things. The sunrise over the barbed wire, the memory of his wife's smile, the sharing of a last crumb of bread. He said, "The salvation of man is through love and in love." He didn't have her, but he had the idea of her, her wife, and that was enough to stay human in a place designed to destroy humanity. One day, a guard asked him, "What's your profession?" Frankl whispered, "Doctor." The guard smirked and said, "You'll be cleaning latrines." And he did, every single day, surrounded by filth and rot and death. Yet Frankl began to teach prisoners, in secret, not with lectures, not with philosophy, but with hope, with courage. He told them, "Don't give up. Your suffering is not meaningless. You have a choice to respond with inner strength. Even now, even here, even in hell." He told stories, quoted poetry, shared jokes, gave lessons in the dirt. Even in a cage, he was freeing minds, one heart at a time, one soul at a time. Years passed. He was moved to Dachau, Turkey, deeper into the pit of Nazi oppression. But inside him, a fire stayed lit, because Frankl believed something radical, that even when everything is taken away, a human still has one last freedom: the power to choose their attitude. He once stood in the snow, emaciated, barefoot, broken, and still he whispered, "I am still me. They cannot take that. Not my spirit, not my soul, not my choice." And then, one day, it ended. In 1945, the camp gates opened. Frankl walked out, weighing less than 80 pounds, his face hollow, his family gone, his manuscript lost forever, but his spirit unbroken. He returned to Vienna, sat in silence, picked up a pen, and started again. He poured out tears, memories, pain, truth, and rebuilt the work of his life. Line by line, word by word, that book became one of the greatest works of the 20th century. Man's Search for Meaning, a guide for broken souls. It wasn't just a book. It was a mirror, a reminder that no one can steal your inner freedom. Frankl taught, if we can find a why, we can bear any how, any pain. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. He proved it. He lived it. Frankl didn't just survive the Holocaust. He transformed it into a story of light, of growth, of love. So when life beats you down, when you feel everything slipping away, remember Frankl and ask yourself, what will I choose now? This was the story of Viktor Frankl, a man who was stripped of everything and yet gave the world everything.